In this video, we're going to show you how to use 3D trims in VStitcher. This knowledge applies to any 3D trim, including those in the browser asset libraries such as buttons, zippers, and drawcords. Before importing our trim into VStitcher, we need to make sure the 3D object is optimized. For this lesson, we're using Maya, but you can use any other 3D software available to you as long as you follow these guidelines. Make sure the 3D object is modeled in its real-world size. The front part of the object should be orientated towards the top, meaning that it's parallel to the y-axis. If the object has different parts and materials, these can be separated. Note, it's important to give a descriptive name to the material assigned to each part, because that's what we see in the VStitcher context view. One of the most crucial aspects is ensuring that the 3D object has a good UV mapping. The UV map is what allows the assigned textures to display correctly. When assigning a shader to the objects in the 3D software, we can use the Phong and Maya and assign textures such as the diffuse and normal. Note that it's possible to edit or add textures later inside VStitcher, such as roughness, metallic, and displacement. Final step is to freeze or apply the transformations in our object. This resets all transformation values and keeps the object in place. We export our trim in FBX format and select Embed Media, so our exported object goes with the textures we assigned. We go back to VStitcher to the Resources tabs, Materials, Trims, and click the piece assignable trim, and choose our FBX file. If necessary, we can adjust the orientation of the trim to ensure the front is facing us. However, by following the previous guidelines, the trim should be imported correctly already. Now we need to set some connectors where our trim connects to our garment. We have two options, points and lines. We can use only one type or have them both combined in a single trim. Points are best when the trim is very small or if we want only specific fixation points from the trim to the garment. Lines create an internal line in the trim that we can stitch to an edge or to another internal line in our garment. We can delete the default connectors and create our own. In this case, we first create two lines that we then sew to our belt, and those will pull the buckle in place. The lines need to be on the back of the buckle, so we adjust the view. We create the lines and adjust if needed. We can always come back here later and adjust the connectors. We now have two options. We can add our trim right on top of our garment, and it automatically connects to it. Or we can add it as a piece, arrange it, and then stitch it to where we want it in our garment. In this case, we'll add it as a new piece and stitch it to our belt edges by using the line connectors. It seems that we may need a bigger buckle. So we go to our 3D trim and increase its size. We go to the Arrange mode and place the buckle closer to its final position. We adjust the 3D layer so the buckle stays over the jacket, and then we simulate. If the 3D trim is not placed as we expect, we can always use the styling tools to adjust it. We can select it, pinch it, and move it by using the Gizmo tool. We always have the possibility to lock it so it doesn't move. Note, these styling features are only available in VStitcher 2021.2 and newer. For older versions, only the pinch tool is available to use to adjust the trims. Now, to improve the realism of our jacket, the belt should be looping through the buckle. To mimic that effect, we create a new piece. We clone our belt and reduce its width. This piece needs to stay over the buckle, so the 3D layer number must be higher than the buckle. We stitch this piece to our line connectors on the buckle and simulate again. We might need to use the styling tools to help place the piece. Additionally, we can add a new line connector to the middle of our buckle. We create an internal line on the piece and stitch to this so it looks more realistic. We do some additional adjustments to our pieces as needed. This buckle is not complete, and not like a real-life buckle because it was created so we can easily adjust it in VStitcher and have less collision with the garment when simulated. It's important to think ahead when trying to create more complex trims and remember that it's always possible to go back to the 3D software and adjust the trim. Now it's time to adjust the materials and textures. You can see the diffuse map is already imported. We can replace it or change its color. Let's adjust the specular and roughness. And then we add normal and displacement maps that were created according to our object's UVs. And now we have our true-to-life 3D trim looking great. By adjusting its maps and properties, we can create a variety of trims and enhance the final look of our garments. In this video, you've learned how to create, import, and enhance your own 3D trims. For more information, check out the Browser Help Center.